Hello gamers, it's SoftKitty99 and today we're in the Minecraft Creative Builds world and I'd like to add a little bit to my town. See, here we've got the beautiful mansions in many colours, and over in that direction we've got the main body of our town with a big mansion there in a more traditional style, and the shopping mall and the town hall and all the other buildings over in that direction. And over in this direction we've got like a little tiny beach area with a few holiday homes and a little tiki bar on the beach, and I thought I'd want to eventually tie this into my town. So what we've got is just this little piece of land here, so I was thinking we could perhaps add a big hotel in this sort of big open area here, perhaps a small parking lot over here, run the road down to make to the parking lot, and then just have small paths leading off to the beach areas and a few holiday homes over here. And then we're going to have a few little bits of land, so perhaps we could build a small house up here, maybe another one over here, maybe even another one over there. We'll think about that later, but I think right now what I'd like to do is use this little piece of land across here to become a playground area. So if we start by making the road longer, so we'll want to pick up our slabs and our black terracotta for our road, and then we will want to extend this a little bit, so this needs to go a little bit further forward, and then we're going to have to remove that pool that's just in front of me. And of course we have a sheep. We always have an animal come to say hello. Hello, Mr. Sheep. Or is it Miss Sheep? It's always a little bit hard to tell. Probably a Miss Sheep. Hello, Miss Sheep. Yes, we're going to be building today. Would it be nice? Yes, that's a good girl. You move away so that you don't invade our building space, because I would like to leave the little sheep alone. So I want to extend this a little bit and sort of plan out where we're going to build things. So that we can then start doing the building. So if I can put in the road and the... oh, yes, that was good, Kitty. Now you have water everywhere. Perhaps I should have done the road off camera, but then you wouldn't have seen me throwing water everywhere. And investigating sheep and doing all those kinds of crazy things that I tend to end up doing quite a lot. Which, to be honest, is probably the main reason that you watch me, because I forget my words and I do stupid things and I act a bit silly here and there. And hopefully, occasionally, I build something that you find nice and useful and that you want to build in your own worlds. Or, if you don't want to build the whole thing, that it will give you some sort of inspiration for your own worlds. I think I'm going to want to remove some of this grass to make this land flat for the car park area. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock some of this out to extend the road through. Hello! Hello, piggies! Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you, piggies. I would prefer it if you move away from where I'm trying to build. And yes, I am going to knock you down because I don't want this extra layer of higher ground at this point in time. No, I don't want to hit you, piggy. Don't worry, I'm not coming at you with an axe or a sword or anything. I would just want to remove this bit of high ground, so if you could kindly wander off somewhere else, that would be good. If you went that direction, that would be good. No, you want to see what I'm doing. No, I don't have any food for you, Mr. Pig. Is it Mr. and Miss Pig? There's two of them. Are you a couple? I see they all want to see what I've got for them, but I don't have anything for them. So they're going to be quite disappointed, aren't they? But there's plenty of grass for the sheep, at least. Alright, let's move one or two more of these. Just give it enough space to put the road through. And then of course we can extend from the car park off the end of the road once we figure out how much space we're going to have for the car park area. So I'm not actually probably going to build the car park straight away. I'm going to leave the space to think about where we're going to want to put things later on. So let's just extend the road a little bit first, and then that kind of starts to mark out the area. So now you've got an idea of what I'm planning. Let me know if you've got any ideas. There we go. So I don't think that's about as far as we can go. I suppose we could go one more, but that might be stretching it a bit. Right, so we've now planned out. I'm going to add a few blocks across there so that we can add the slabs for the pavement at the side, and that we might be able to leave the water. I don't know, that depends on what we build. We'll probably have to remove it, to be honest, but we'll see. Oh, down there, and then let's extend this along here too. So then it's all going to be flat along here until we get to the car park. See, some of the slabs are going on top of the grass. That's a little bit awkward in some places. So let's go all the way along here. I'm not going to go all the way across because we will eventually want to put a car park here, but I'm not quite sure how much space we're going to need for things at the moment. So here you see we've got a house, and I think this little bit of sand and stuff here is quite close to the house. See, like I said, I would kind of like to put in a playground. But I'm a little bit concerned about the space that we've got. So I think we're going to have to be a little unconventional in the shape of our playground. So I think this house needs to be given a little bit of space of its own, sort of private. So we're going to need some sort of fencing thing, aren't we? So if we... How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? I kind of want a little path structure to go along with the area where we're going to be. Let me think about this. What would make a great path structure? See, that would the dried kelp could be quite a nice path, but if you want to put fence on top of an edge or something, that wouldn't look right. So I think we do want some sort of if I use the prismarine, what do you think? If I use the prismarine, and then we're going to want some sort of fence structure. So if I go fence, I think, what should we use? Is another brick too dark, do you think? Or do you think wood would be better, because we're fairly rustic? But then I'm kind of thinking it might be better to have iron fences. I think I'm going to want iron as well as a fence. So iron fence, because I'm thinking of building a playground, but then I don't know if I fancy... Oh, do you know what? I'm not sure that I like the iron. Let's try this out. What I'd like to do first is I would like to use the dark prismarine to delineate the edge of the property for this pink house. I'd like them to have a little bit of space for like marking off where their garden ends. I think that's what we want to do here. So we want to go all the way to the... Oh, look, water everywhere again, Kitty. Right, so we want to go to there to delineate the edge of their garden. And I think we should use that as the fence to say that's their garden, which is more sand than garden, but that's theirs. And then that means that that's their space, not everybody else's. So we've actually got the white fence over here, look, so maybe we should be using that rather than... Let's see. If I pick this up, I think we want to mark the edge of their garden going along here, like that's the edge of their property onto the beach, so that marks the edge of where their place is and where the next one is. So maybe we should have that as there to match, or we could add their fence there, so that other fence is then on public property, not on their property. So what I would like to do is add a little bit of something in the side of their garden here. What I'd like to do is add like a sun lounger thing, maybe a couple of them. So that it looks like they use the garden. Let's just add, should I just add one? Is that too long? How's that? And then we can have like a little like table thing next to it. And then they can have like a couple of chairs that they can move around in their little garden area, and we kind of make it that's their garden. And then maybe we can add just a couple of flowers or something. I don't know. That's just by the by. I'm just trying to make it look like it's real rather than just a prefabricated mess. Right, so we've delineated the edge of the property line for the houses, and this is becoming now part of the public area for the playground that I'm hoping to build here. So I'd like to build some like fun stuff. So what I'd like to do is build some like planters. But maybe that's too big. See, I'm doing this as a process now, which kind of lets you see that I don't always plan things out very well. I think the full block is too tall for what I'm thinking of doing. I think we want a sort of half slab, and then I think we want some taller plants. I would like to use the peony and the rose, I think. So if we grab the half slab, and I'm also going to want grass. So what I'm thinking of doing is having a planter box why did I just knock it out? Because I'm thinking in my head, you see, at the time. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to build a planter box. So it needs to be 3 wide by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the first planter box. And then next to it I'm going to build another one that overlaps. So this side here becomes part of both sides of boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then so it's 3 in that direction by 5 in that direction. Now for the place where you're going to build yours, this is kind of modular, so you can then build to fit the space that you're using. So you can add multiple of these planter boxes, or you can like add a bench in the center, and then you can adjust the length of the side to fit the space where you'll be building your own sort of playground area. And now I want to grab the full block, and I want to come down here, and I want to make a 2 wide path. So you could like have a bench in the middle between the two. And I'm going to bring it all the way down to the seafront like so. And then I'm going to knock another layer out, and I'm going to put in another layer of the prismarine. I'm going to keep extending it like that. So along the edge I've now got a little bit of a walkway space. Now I'm going to remove a few of the very tall grass. Now along the side of where we've just put the prismarine, I now want to use the brick fence. So, but I also want to make sure we've got space for a gate. And then along the front I want to run it again like so. So I want this to be like a gate area, which also means that along here we're going to knock this out and turn our prismarine into a place to put our fence. And then I want to run that along the edge. So now we're marking out the edge of the area where the playground's going to be. Now I'm not going to give you exact dimensions because I'm going to build this in a modular sort of fashion. So I'm going to use the space that I've got and just adjust what I put in it to fit the space that we've got. So each individual item that I build you can use in your own playgrounds and towns, or you can adapt them to fit your own towns, and then you go from there. So now what I want to do is remove everything that's in my action bars. Goodbye. And we now want to think, what will we build first in our playground? Now the first thing to think about is, what's the ground going to be like? When I was tiny, a lot of playgrounds where I lived were just asphalt, and then people started having accidents, so they changed the surfacing to be much more soft. And these days in playgrounds you've got something that kind of looks like tarmac but isn't, because if you jump up and down on it it's squishy and it moves beneath your feet to reduce risk of accidental damage if children fall off playground equipment. So it's got to be kind of a springy soft surface, or you can sometimes have like bark chippings and things. So whatever you use in a playground these days tends to be much more soft and less likely to cause harm than the traditional sort of hard concretes and asphalts and solid surfaces. In fact, you quite often don't even see grass anymore because they prefer something a little bit softer and squishier. So we want something that looks like that. So I was thinking that it might be nice to actually use sand, because I think we've got... Oh no, we haven't got... we haven't. I was just going to say I'd hoped that we'd added some sands in those last couple of patches, but we haven't. We've just got the normal 2 sands. So no, I don't like that idea. So what else have we got that looks like it might be coloured? Well, we've got concrete powder, haven't we? Though of course if it gets wet then it's going to look and feel really odd, isn't it? Now, what colour do we want our ground to be? So it could be any colour, couldn't it? It absolutely could be any colour at all. So let's think about this. What shall we use? We could go for a green to kind of try and match. I've also seen blues in various colours, but that might not match the green that we've already got. Red could work. What do you think? Orange is very traditionally coloured. Yellow would be a proper sandy thing. So if we were going to do a sand pit, even though we're right next to the sand, we could still do a sand pit, and then we might want to use the bright yellow. Or we could use something slightly different like the magenta or the purple. See, I'm picking them all up now because I don't know which colour to use. I think the cyan is too green. I think the dark green might work. I think the light green is too bright. The red might work. I'm not sure about the pink at all, to be honest, and I think purple's just going to look wrong. So let's see which one looks best to me. And of course which one you choose to use is going to be different depending on how you personally think it ought to look. I don't like the green, and the yellow I think I would use if I'm making a sand pit. So I think it's either got to be the blue or the red. I think I prefer the red. So I'm going to use the red. That doesn't mean you have to use the red. You can use whichever colour you want. So I'm now going to fill the area that we've got here, and then we're going to start building. So I've put in the groundwork for building our playground, and I'm going to see what I can come up with to kind of mimic playground equipment. Of course, none of it's going to be able to actually move. It's all going to be just visual, and it's all kind of based on squares and things, so it's probably not going to be ideally matched to real playground equipment. And of course, depending on what sort of area of the world you're in, I think there's quite a big variation in sort of things that are available in playgrounds. And I think the things that are available in playgrounds have changed quite a bit over the years as well. So depending on how old you are, you might have experienced completely different types of playground equipment to many of the rest of people viewing. So when you think about building your own playground in your own towns, you might want to think about the different types of play equipment that you've played on, or that you've seen other people's kids playing on and stuff, and where you might have seen things that are different in your travels, or things that you grew up with that you don't tend to see anymore. And you can basically add anything you like to the playgrounds. I mean, a lot of playgrounds near me these days have started to have gym equipment added as well, so you might want to, if you've got more space, you might want to try and build a gym equipment place close by as well. Right, so we've got a starting patch of sand here now, so I think we've got space to start building our first item.